Moynihan.
Thank you very much, Ken Corla. Minister, we know that there is an increase in child and adolescent mental health services in the waiting list for CHO1 area, which is my own area, and that includes Cavan and Monaghan. And it shows that the system is failing children with mental health issues. It is shocking that in 1 month alone, the waiting list has grown by 17 in CH1, which may not sound a lot, but overall, within my own area, CHO1 has 282 young people on a waiting list as of the end of September 2019. And of course, that's 15% of the overall national list, and that's clearly not good enough, Minister. Regional imbalance and inadequate mental health services are a hallmark of the system, unfortunately. It is very evident that is very evident in the CAMHS waiting list. And just by comparison, our own neighbouring health area, taken in Galway, Mayo and Roscommon, have only 17 people waiting overall. So that's a huge comparison. We're 282, they're 17. So there's something fundamentally wrong with the system in CHO1. Over the past decade, we've seen children and young people face new pressures from social media and online engagement, which all of our colleagues have spoken about here today, and we should be broadening access for mental health services and not limiting it. If CAMHS service isn't up to scratch, we are really letting our young people down and failing them abysmally. The system is failing children with mental health issues. What is needed is clear implementation of the strategy to bring CAMHS services up to scratch, and that hasn't been happening, Minister. Now, Minister, I suppose we all receive emails on a daily basis to do with various issues around our constituencies, but I received one on the 17th of June, and I'm going to take this opportunity just to read a segment of it to you, because I was really stuck to my chair, is the only way I could say it, struck, and I found this profound and I suppose very insightful to the service that we have in Cavan Monaghan. Just reads, Dear Niamh, I read with interest your parliamentary question regarding CAMHS data for Cavan Monaghan. I would like to draw to your attention the very worrying revelation as an adult mental health service user would be potentially taking up the therapy spot for a child. So, Minister, you'd ask yourself, how might that be happening? And I quote, I find it highly unethical, and I have expressed my concerns to the relevant HSE personnel only to be informed that ethics of such a decision to continue seeing an adult service user once the psychologist has changed posts from adult service to child and adolescent services is not the burden of the service user, in spite of one child less being seen as a result of that. I feel as though I'm being stonewalled regarding the issue, and I'm waiting any kind of response to my letters written on the subject to the HSE, and this lady wrote on the 3rd and the 4th of May detailing her concerns, and to date, Minister, has not received any response to that. I wonder if you might be able to bring and convey my concerns to the HSE of how unjustified and unethical this scenario is. So I suppose, to put it into my own words, Minister, I just found this so striking that I met this young woman. I picked up the phone and rang her, and I met her for a cup of tea. And she's a very articulate, concerned woman who is using mental health services in Cavan Monaghan and has been doing that for a number of years, and is very much aware of international models, and has really had a battle on her hands with the HSE to use a type of service that is suitable for her needs. She's very articulate and very much aware of what's going to suit her needs, and she has articulated that in a very clear, understandable, educated way to the health service. The methodologies that they're using is not what's going to serve her best. But what she finds most worrying, and what the point I want to make today, is that her clinical psychologist, who is her one-on-one person to deal with, has taken up a new job with CAMHS. So that psychologist moves to CAMHS, but takes with her workload and cases from the adult mental health services. So she has to carry that work over to CAMHS. Therefore, that person couldn't possibly be seeing the children that she's meant to be seeing in CAMHS through the mental health services for child and adult services. And this adult service user finds that completely unethical, and she's absolutely right. And she has brought this to the attention of the HSE with absolutely no concrete answers. I've put in PQs on this, and I've got no satisfactory answers either. And, Minister, I think it's something we really need to be looking into, because we know we're being told anyway that the recruitment's a problem, staff's a problem. So why would a person take up a job, which she's quite entitled to do, with CAMHS, but be expected to carry her workload from the adult health services? And of course, our time is so short. Minister, you were in Bailieborough and you met with the mental health services there, the association, and you know the wonderful work that Sean McKiernan and his volunteers are doing there. They're a voluntary group doing fantastic work. Jigsaw, I've heard so much about it. It is certainly their champions. Fiona, Gilmer and Sean McKiernan are champions of bringing Jigsaw to Cavan. And I know that it's a very specific service that isn't everywhere in the country. I would encourage you and ask you to engage with us in that, because it's something we certainly want to see provided in Cavan.
Good morning, Ceann Comhairle, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak in the debate.